Hey guys, it's Cal coming at you with another review from the rig, where I attempt to answer the question that you most want to know. Yeah, but does it smell good? Tonight, we're coming at you with the CHAILIGHT ZONE from Phoenix Shaving. CK6 formula. Matching splash. This is a seasonal release. Let's get the disclosures out of the way with first. This set was sent to me for review purposes by Douglas Frayne and Huxley at Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. Secondly, I only briefly scanned the sales page, but I did that after I'd already made my own observations. And thirdly, I know a bunch of the other guys have already got their review videos up. I have not watched those, and I'm waiting until after I get my own video out to watch those, so that I don't, so that it's not influencing my own ideas. So, get into the scent notes, get into a bit of information, and then get into my own observations. So, scent notes. We have top notes of orange peel, bergamot, peppercorn, cardamom, powder, amaretto. Middle notes of anise, nutmeg, and tonka. Base notes of honey, rum, musk, and oud. Now you're probably going to say, well, Cal, there's no chai
in CHAILIGHT ZONE.
Well, you'd be right, but not for the reasons that you think. I did a Google search. What we call chai tea is actually masala tea. Masala is the Hindi word for spice. And it's a blend of spices that include peppercorn, cardamom, star anise, nutmeg, but can also include stuff like ginger and cinnamon and bay leaf and clove, and then that's blended with black tea to make what we call chai tea. Now, what's the Hindi word for tea? Well, it's chai. So technically what we call chai tea would be masala chai. In CHAILIGHT ZONE, there are no tea notes. There's no black tea notes in it. So, yeah, there's no chai in CHAILIGHT ZONE. But I guess calling it the Masala Light Zone just wouldn't have the same ring, and people really wouldn't know what the hell you're talking about. Let's get on my own observations. When I first picked this up at the post office the other day, my first thought, to me, it reminds me of walking in the woods on a snowy winter day through the evergreens, snow-laden boughs, with a chai latte. Or better yet, going home after walking in the woods on a cold winter's day, curling up under a blanket by the fire with a nice chai tea. This is just absolutely wonderful. So, tell you what I first impressions were. When you first put it on, like what I've done in the truck, and I've tried this several times in the truck over the last couple, 2 or 3 days. Give it a few seconds for that alcohol to evaporate off. And then what you get very first is those delicious baking spices that just come through. And then the front of that is delicious nutmeg. If you can picture a few skyscrapers in and amongst the smaller buildings, and the skyscrapers are surging upwards, becoming the dominant thing in the skyline, those baking spices are those skyscrapers. And that nutmeg is the biggest of them all. This happens within a few minutes of putting it on. Give it a bit of time, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever, and then those tone down a bit. And then they start to meld with some of those other scent notes. They start to meld in with the musk, with the oud. I find that on the dry down, that musk really comes through nicely, and it adds a really nice depth to this. And along with the oud keeps it from being strictly a gourmand. It's something more. It's more rounded. It's more grounded. Like I said, there's something almost undefinable for me in it. Like I said, it's gourmand, but it's so much more than that. I think the other thing that I really noticed is that when I first got it at the post office, I put it on the back of both my hands, and then I had to fuel up the rig. So I have got my dirty fuel gloves on. I've got a jacket on. It's cold. It's windy. And I feel like I can still smell it. So this lingers in my olfactory memory, or lingers in my sinuses, in my nose, after I've taken away the source. So I don't know that I've ever experienced a scent that's really done that before. So it's really, really interesting the way that even after I've taken, my hands are covered with dirty gloves, I'm fueling up, and I still detect that scent. And it is just wonderful, and it's so magical. Something else to take into account is, if you're like me and I'm not a perfumer. I don't really understand how things work, but if I look up what anise is a licorice-like scent, and I hate licorice. I hate the taste of it. I hate the smell of it. So if I see anise listed in a scent profile, my first thought is licorice. But fear not. You're not going to detect licorice in here. Again, I'm not a perfumer. I don't know the purpose of it or how it's used. Secondly, oud, if you look that up, it is animalic, smoky, woody, earthy. Something that probably would not normally appeal to me if it was used more broadly. Again, not being a perfumer, not really understanding how things are blended. For me, the oud grounds this. It gives it more depth. And again, keeps it from being strictly a gourmand. There's just something more going on to it. But again, such a beautiful, wonderful holiday scent. Those beautiful baking spices, the bit of the sweetness from perhaps the honey or the rum, that beautiful light musk, that little bit of oud that gives it that depth and grounds it all, is just absolutely wonderful. So I hope you guys will take the time to check this out. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video. I hope I've been able to show you something a little bit about it. And you guys take care. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.